Okay, so we've got a stack of research today all about mutual funds.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Um, in particular, we're going to be taking a look at this piece called Mutual Fund Myths
Okay.
that you sent over. And we're going to be kind of deep diving into this whole idea
Right.
of, is it true? Are mutual funds just for these, kind of financial wizards and experts?
Yeah.
Or can anybody really, benefit from mutual funds?
Oh, it's interesting that you say that because one of the things that this piece points out right off the bat
Mm-hmm.
is that mutual funds are really for everybody. And in fact, they were kind of designed that way.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. And I see here,
Yeah.
it even mentions that, some people feel like they lack the knowledge or skill set
Mhm.
to invest in the securities market.
Right.
And that could be, pretty intimidating.
Absolutely.
What is the securities market?
Yeah, so the securities market is basically this broad term
Okay.
for any place where investments are bought and sold. So that can be stocks, it can be it can be a whole bunch of different things, and it can feel really complicated.
Right.
But mutual funds actually simplify things
Okay.
because instead of, going out and picking all these individual stocks yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you are pooling your money with other investors, and a professional fund manager
I see.
is actually making those decisions.
So it's not just for the experts then?
Not at all. In fact, I think the myth that it's only for experts comes from the fact that the financial world
Yeah.
can just feel really, really intimidating. Like we
Yeah.
just use the term securities market, and it's like, oh my gosh, what does that even mean?
Right. Exactly. And I'm already lost.
Yeah, exactly. But with mutual funds, you don't have to be an expert yourself because you have an expert working for you.
Right. It's almost like having a personal chef.
Yes.
For your investments, they go out and they find all the best ingredients,
Exactly.
make the dish, and then you get to, enjoy the meal without having to do all that work.
I love that analogy, and it's an inexpensive way to access that expertise.
Okay, well, yeah, and speaking of inexpensive,
Ah.
there's a quote here that says that a mutual fund is an inexpensive way for investors to get a full-time professional fund manager to manage their money.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that possible?
Well, think about it this way.
Yeah.
Hiring like a financial advisor on your own can get really expensive.
Sure.
But with a mutual fund, you're sharing that cost with hundreds or thousands of other investors.
Right.
So essentially, you're all splitting the bill for this professional management.
I see, okay.
And another thing is that fund managers, because they're buying in bulk,
Mm-hmm.
they often get better prices on investments than you would as an individual.
So it's like Costco for investing.
Exactly.
You buy in bulk, you get a better deal.
I like that, yeah.
Okay, cool. So that myth is busted too.
Yeah,
It's not expensive.
yeah.
So what else does this article tell us about how mutual funds work?
Well, another important concept is diversification.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that term.
Yeah, you probably heard the saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
And that's essentially what diversification is in investing.
Okay.
So mutual funds invest in a whole mix of different assets
Mm-hmm.
to kind of spread the risk around.
So even if one investment, let's say, tanks,
Right.
the others might, still be doing well and kind of protecting you.
Exactly. And this is where the fund manager's expertise really comes in.
Okay.
They know how to build that diversified portfolio so that it aligns with the goals of the fund.
This is really making me rethink, my whole approach to investing.
That's great.
Because I think I maybe thought it was a lot more complex
Yeah.
and a lot more expensive to kind of get started.
It sounds like this deep dive has given you some new perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you think, what are some of the questions that come to mind for you now?
Well, I think the biggest thing is I'm realizing I don't know as much about the different types of mutual funds.
Right.
Like, are there different types?
Yeah, absolutely. There are things like stock funds and bond funds,
Okay.
and they each have different levels of risk and potential return.
Interesting.
So that's probably something that you might want to look into further.
Yeah, for sure. What other kinds of questions should people be asking themselves, after this deep dive?
I think another good question to ask yourself is, what are your financial goals?
Okay.
Because different mutual funds are going to be designed to help you achieve different things.
Right.
So are you saving for retirement? Are you saving for a down payment on a house?
Hmm.
Those kinds of questions will really help you narrow down
Oh.
what type of mutual fund is right for you.
Okay. So know your goals.
Exactly.
And then, kind of investigate the different types of mutual funds.
That's a great start.
Awesome. Well, this has been super helpful.
I'm glad.
I feel like I've learned a lot.
Good.
Yeah, so I guess that's it for this deep dive. But, hopefully everyone listening also feels a little bit more informed and, maybe even empowered
Absolutely.
to take that next step with their investments?
Yeah, and don't let those myths hold you back.
Ex-
Mutual funds really can be for everyone.
All right. Thanks for joining us,
Thanks for having me.
and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.
Sounds good.